Okay, so we've got the Manfrotto Digital Director here to go through some training with you today. So as we open up the box, we'll see what is inside. So we've got the unit here, so this is the Digital Director for the iPad Air. As you can see on here, we'll just focus that in. This is the MVDDA13. So what that stands for is Manfrotto Video Digital Director Air 13. So 13 is for the iPad Air and 14 is for the iPad Air 2. So we'll just place this to the side. Take this casing out. Now inside here we've got international plugs for all the countries. Also comes with a 1 meter standard USB micro cable. And here is your AC adapter to plug in all of your plugs with. And just a little pamphlet on why you should be buying genuine product from Manfrotto and all your warranty information, and then the product manual, which is also included in the app. Very easy to get started. All you do is you grab your digital director, unlock the case, as you can see with the little unlock symbol there. There you go. So you unlock that. What this does is it allows this device to go in and out, to have your iPad slide in and out. So we'll unlock that. We'll grab our iPad with the docking connection going towards the base. And we'll push it in like so. Lock down. And now we're able to get started with the digital director. So I've just placed my iPad in the digital director at the bottom of screen there, just to let you know a couple of fantastic features of the Manfrotto digital director. It is the only MiFi certified device by Apple, which means that Apple themselves have given it their tick of approval, saying yes, this can be used with an iPad and plug in with a Lightning connector and charge your iPad at the same time. So Apple has given it their tick of approval, and it's the only device to do this with controlling a camera. Also has a 3/8 inch thread at the bottom of it, as you can see there, the gold thread, that will allow you to attach it to virtually anything. Can run on AA batteries, a DC connection, and amazingly they've been able to fit a microprocessor inside the digital director. It's a ARM Cortex A8 600 MHz 256 megabytes DRAM. There's a lot of numbers there. It's all good. All you need to know is there's a computer inside that allows you to have a very quick, fast and efficient workflow with the digital director that you will not get with anything else. So to plug this into my Nikon D800 here, I'm going to have to use myself a USB 3 cord. As you can see here, it's not a micro USB that comes with the connection, but a USB 3. Now this will use any standard USB 3 cable. It doesn't have to be one bought from Manfrotto. So we'll open the side end, plug it into the camera. Now we'll plug this side into the digital director. We'll turn the camera on, we'll turn the digital director on, and then we'll get started. Alright, so here we have the digital director with the iPad not in it. You'll notice that we have a Lightning cable plug, and this is where your locking is going to be on the back. This will make sure that your iPad doesn't come out with your lever here. Put that up, and you're able to pull the lever back. On the back here, this is where your optional AA batteries are going to go in, or you can plug it in with an AC cable right here. Your camera will be plugged in via the USB cable, and this is where you can attach it to your tripod. Right here I'm just using a hydrostatic arm, and it will plug right into the back. This also works really well with the new 244 arms from Manfrotto that has the anti-rotation on it. That's what these two sockets on the other side are. You also notice that there is 4 cold shoes on here. So very handy if you're wanting to attach lights or something else to the actual case itself. We also have an on button, so that will turn it on and off. And there is your 6 screws here, so this is where in the future come out with a different case. You can just take this frame off, put the new case on to fit different types of media. So for today's shoot, all we're going to need to get started is grab the plug for my Nikon D800. This is a USB 3 cable. Plug that straight in. Also grab the power cable. I'm going to be using the power cable today because then I'll be charging my iPad at the same time. Plug it straight in there, and you'll see that the light comes on. So this is on straight away. I'll then attach that to my arm, and then I'll place the iPad in, and then we'll get started. So after you have plugged in your camera into the digital director, and you've placed your iPad inside the digital director, and you've also downloaded the digital director application, go ahead and open it. First thing you'll see come up is the help screen. Help screen will go through what all the buttons do, and also in video mode as well as photo in the first screen, and then what's going to happen when you move to full screen mode, and also with editing. You can choose to not show this again down the bottom so you don't see it every time you start. I'll just leave it open for now. Push skip, and you'll see that we have the live view of the camera right now. First thing you'll notice on screen is going to be this big blue circle. This is where our current focus is. So if I push on screen, it will then change the focus. Push back here, change the focus again. You'll see that the bricks are now out of focus. I can go ahead and choose the bricks again. Another thing to notice on your live view is down the bottom here we have our digital zoom buttons. If I push the magnify, it will go in, so I can check focus on those bricks and make sure that everything is exactly as I intended it to. The digital zoom, as you can see, it goes in extremely far, so you can check your focus. And we'll go back out to its widest again. Another thing to note is as you are digitally zooming in, you can also change where you're wanting the digital zoom on the focus to go. Note that as you do this, it is also going to change your focusing position. There we go, and back to the bricks. Again, if I'm wanting over to the left here to be more in focus, I'll just push on that, just make sure that everything is good. Going back out, in the top left hand and right hand corners, there's a rotate button. So if you're wanting to rotate your live view around, This is the easiest way to do it. In the bottom corner here, bottom left hand corner, we have our autofocus mode. We have battery life. If you go ahead and you push that, it's going to let you know my camera's battery is half full, my digital director is plugged into the PowerPoint, and my iPad is at around about 90%, but because I'm using the AC adapter, it's also charging my iPad at the same time. I have the camera in manual mode. The drive mode here, if I push on that, it will go to multi-drive or back to single. We also have white balance. If I push on that, we have auto and going from 2500 Kelvin all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. If I push that, you'll see that everything changes instantly on camera. It's very quick. It's very easy to see what your color is doing. If I just go back to 5300 there, and there's daylight. Also, I've got my image quality as raw down the bottom. That's set up on the camera itself. We have a histogram. If you push that, you have more of a dynamic histogram, or we can go back to your simple histogram once again. Bottom left hand corner, if we push that, it will show the photos that's currently on the memory card. And you could even go by dates on the side here, dates of images taken, or you can filter it by a star rating, which we will go through later. On all these, it will show you the name and the size, and you could also download them. So we'll just go back for now. Autoplay. So what this is going to mean is if I turn that on and I take a photo, it's going to take the photo, then it's going to show me, it's going to download it to my iPad, and it's also going to show me exactly what the photo looks like. Now you'll notice it took a little bit of time for that to show up, and this is because I'm using a Nikon D800 and the file sizes are very large. Using the standard iPad controls, I can then zoom in to check to make sure that everything is in focus just using iPad gestures, just like so. In this view, I can quickly go and rate images, and I can quickly view the rest of the memory card if I'm wanting to, and I can also edit them by, say, cropping straight away. I'll get more into this later, but you can do this on the go as you are taking photos if you'd like to shoot that way. If I turn autoplay off, as soon as I take a photo, it will take it and nothing will be interrupted. I just go back into taking more photos just like that. If I switch my drive mode over to multiple, I currently have it set up to 5 photos. You'll see a number 5 inside the shutter button there, which is in the settings. I'll push that and it will take 5 photos for me just on one push. Let's hear that again. And 5 photos. Very, very easy. Put my drive mode back to single. We have a play button down the bottom here. This will show the last photo taken. Now this is going to again download the photo so that we're seeing it at a very high resolution, and you can go on and check your photo. Down the bottom you can turn your live view on or off. So I currently have the live view off right now, so if I put my hand in front of the camera it won't do anything. Live view back on, hand in front of the camera, there it is. Bottom right hand corner, if I push this button, this is going to come into a job. I can quickly create a job name right here. I can call this training 1, and push return, and now my current job is going to be training, and I can put it in an album if I'm wanting to. And I can also assign a FTP server connection profile to this job. Also in the bottom right hand corner we've got our settings button. We'll go through all of this in a sec. Of course, your shutter button and how many photos we have left. The top right hand corner we have got a lock button, so if I was to push that, nothing I do on screen can actually be changed. Nothing except for taking photos. Very good if you are wanting other people to use it for you and you don't want settings to be changed. This lock feature is going to be fantastic. Let's go ahead and turn that off, and now we can change settings, as you can see right there. In the very top right hand corner, this will switch between photo mode and video mode. Going down the side panel, we have our exposure, then we have our ISO. As you can see, as I'm changing the ISO, the image is also changing in real time. So everything is straight away. Below that we have our shutter speed. Again, as using the slider, the shutter speed is changing and you can see its effect straight away on the iPad. Below that, your aperture. There we go. So if I put my aperture up to f9 and I slow it down, you'll see that the photo is changing as I'm moving. Put that down to 2.8 again, and then make my shutter speed much faster because it's very bright out here. We also have our manual focus button. So this here is very good for macro photography, where I can just slide this to the side and it will slowly bring my camera in and out of focus. As we can see right there, it's slowly moving in. Now if I digitally zoom in, you can see that everything is slowly coming into focus, just like so. Let me show you right here. I'll go in nice and close. You can see everything moving. So it's very slow, which is great for getting macro shots. Just like that. We also have, this is a very unique feature to this style of shooting, and it's very handy for Canon and Nikon shooters. It's focus peaking. So if we turn that on, everything that is in focus is going to be highlighted with a red outline. So if you are using manual lenses, this is going to be fantastic. Now if I place my hand just on the camera and I change the focus, you can see that the red outline is moving as to what is in focus. There's plenty of fantastic lenses out there these days that is manual focus only, like the new Midicon 85mm 1.2. Unfortunately, that doesn't have autofocus, and you are kind of guessing, looking through the viewfinder, what's going to be in focus. Now having focus peaking, it's going to be very good for video. You can see exactly what is in focus and adjust it to suit. We'll go ahead and turn that off. And the last thing I'll show you just on this screen here is the full screen mode. Now in full screen mode, it will obviously take up more of the iPad, and you also get this little station down here. So this is your shutter button. You can move it anywhere you like. That makes it very easy for the person shooting. And you can also add features. So if I'm wanting to push this button, it will then have my camera features up here. And again, I can move that anywhere I like. Also have my histogram, and I can move that anywhere I like. I can either push X on those to get them away, or I can just throw them off screen, as you can see. Remember, I can move this anywhere I'm liking, and if I'm wanting it to be a bit more simple, just push that button, and again, I can move it anywhere and push the button and take the photo. Another feature of the camera controls on the right hand side is these lock buttons. So if you really want to be shooting at f2.8 the whole time, just push that lock button, and now you cannot change your aperture at 2.8, but you can adjust everything else still. Now, if we go into video mode now, you'll see that everything is pretty much the same. There's just a couple of items that are slightly different on here. You'll notice that down the bottom we have our audio levels, and as I'm speaking, the audio levels are going up and down to show you exactly what it's picking up. We have our video recording button, and we have a photo taking button. Again, if we put this to the full screen mode, you'll still get your audio levels down the bottom. You can still add in your camera settings and your histogram. You can still move this anywhere you're wanting to, and you still have your video record button and your photo taking button. So if I push video record, you'll see that the record logo, the pause logo, sorry, is blinking, and that means that everything is shooting. Now you'll see as my hand is up the front here, it is pretty much in real time. It's very, very quick with its live view, and this is because it is tethered from the camera straight to the iPad. If you are using wireless, unfortunately you will not get this very quick response that we're seeing on the iPad right now. Just to give you an idea of the speed of the live view, I'm just going to get my hand and put it in front of the camera here, and you can see that as I'm moving, my hand is showing up straight away. As I'm going in and moving, everything is showing up immediately. So it's very, very quick and instantaneous. When you are recording video, like if I push down here, you can also easily change your focusing whilst you're recording using the autofocus. You can also use the manual focus slider, as I'm doing right now. And you could also turn focus peaking on if you're wanting to actually use the camera's lens itself to do your focusing. Another really neat feature of the digital director is if you were to rotate your camera from landscape to portrait, the live view on the screen will also turn at the same time. So I'm just going to grab the camera here and I'm going to rotate it to the left, and you'll see that everything on the screen also rotates. So this also happens in full screen mode. You can see everything is in portrait. As soon as I rotate it to landscape mode, everything goes back to the way it was. Now this is also true if I was to turn the digital director itself. So this is really handy if you are to be, if you want to use the digital director in a portrait mode rather than a landscape. All I have to do is just turn the digital director itself, and everything will change on screen. I can even put this into full screen mode, and as I turn it, everything turns as well. I can even go really tricky and turn everything on screen here, and then as well move the camera to the side, and everything turns at the same time. Really, really neat. Alright, so we're just going to run through quickly the editing, sorting and rating features on the Digital Director. So if I push the camera roll button in the bottom left hand corner, this is going to come up with a couple of options. So on the left here is all of my image categories. So I've got all images or images shot on specific dates, as you can see right there. So these are all specific dated images. On here, this is where we're going to choose sorting the images by filters. So they're all turned off currently. I can turn on just 5-star. It will show me all the 5-star images. I can turn that off, go to 3. I can also look at maybe 3 and 5. 3, 5 and 4 stars maybe. I can turn them off. Just go to the 1 stars. Or just go to all the unrated photos right there. So let's just select all of these again so that they'll show up when I go to all photos. And we'll go to all photos from today. I can then go select. I can either select all in one click, or I can unselect some, just like so. Now with the selected photos, I can do a few things. I can either download them all to my iPad straight away. It's going to be the highest resolution JPEG possible. I can lock them or unlock them so that they can or cannot be deleted. I can just delete them straight away off the memory card. And I can also share them via FTP server, via email, or save it to the camera roll. By saving it to the camera roll, you can upload it to Instagram, any type of social media, Dropbox, anything that your iPad can do, you can share it via that way with camera roll. Alright, let's just cancel out of there and we'll go into one of our images. We'll go into this one right here. So this is where you do your ratings. So you have to go into each individual photo if you're wanting to rate it, like so. You can lock the photos and then you can delete them as well. And that's another way of sharing individual photos. You got your photo title up here. Down the bottom, if you push that button, you can go through the rest of the photos from the specific shooting date that we chose before in the gallery. Remember, this does use the Apple's pinch zoom technology, so really easy to see what's going on with your photos. If we push edit, we then come up with a whole bunch of controls down the bottom. We'll start on the right. We've got our data of the camera, the EXIF data. So it tells me it was shot at 24mm at 320th of a second f2.8 and the ISO was 125. Dimensions of the photo and also the date and time. Just turn that off. You can also control the brightness of the photo, as you can see. Just put that back towards the middle. The contrast. And the exposure. Just some very simple editing to start off with. Obviously there are some other apps that have a lot more control over editing, but this is very good. It's very handy to have it within the program itself. Very easy to rotate your photos and also very easy to crop. So we just push that and we can easily go inside and crop the photo by choosing and then pushing crop itself, and there is your cropped photo. Also easy to see your histogram in your standard or your dynamic histogram. If I was to push crop again, it will go back to the way it was, or I can push reset and it saves it all like the original photo intended. Again, wherever your crop is what the histogram is going to show up with. So you can see how the histogram is right here. If I was to crop this, the histogram would be different again. So it re-evaluates what's going on as you're going through it. Go back to the gallery, and you can do this for all of your photos. Remember, you've got the size of the photo in the top right hand corner of each photo, and it also shows you which photos have already been downloaded. So as you can see right here, I've got a little symbol that says it's been downloaded. If I push on one that has been, it's very quick to open. If I push on one that hasn't been, it just needs to read the JPEG file from the camera first before you can see it on your iPad. And again, because I use the Nikon D800, the file sizes are very big, so it's going to take a while. To show you how quick it will show up a image that's not at high res, I've just done a standard picture right here. No, I didn't. That was a high res one, 11 megabytes. Here is a low res one. There we go, pretty quick. In the bottom corner, down here, you can either choose how you're wanting it to show up, if you're wanting the small files or your larger files for the thumbnails. Looks like that's about it for the Digital Director. Thanks again, guys, for watching this video, and if you have any questions, please ask your local rep.